Hello, welcome. Happy Thursday! I believe it is Thursday. It's snowing again, because of course it is. I brought my Tim Pool hat today. Because what we're talking about is Tim Pool levels of stupid, and it's his crew. It's his crew! It's the Heritage Foundation. Yahoo! Also, my hair is wet, because I didn't bother blow drying it. Why? I don't know. Are you guys ready? You guys ready for this? Quick update. Hey, look, members have their names listed now on the stream. That was a thing we were doing before, and we didn't do it for a little while, and I can't remember why I wasn't doing it. Something happened, and I was like, but it's there now, and I fixed it, so it's there. Good for us! So, you know, if you become a member, which is a whole toonie a month, if that, if it's even that. It's just, oh, hey. Yeah. Basically the amount of 1 cup of coffee a month to support this little goblin as I suffer through this. Are you ready? Oh, and I think I found a way to get my my light back up, but that'll be fixed probably tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow? It's Friday tomorrow. So we have Star Trek tomorrow on Top Hats Off. We got Dumbfuck Friday, and we got some dumb fucking shit to look at tomorrow. So be ready for that. But yeah, I do want to highlight something that we didn't highlight last time we were here reading this, and it's the authors. I just want to point out, I just want to make sure that these people get it stuck. God, their website is ass. There we go. Whoa, hey. Roger, J, Emma, Delano, Rachel, and Robert can all go fuck themselves. I just wanted to be clear. These guys, in particular, by name, go fuck yourself. Yeah, the Cheese Mines in full production, right there. We are also at 92% of the way to our goal, so if we reach that goal today, it means I get to wear the costume on Dumbfuck Friday, which is, like, my favorite. That's my favorite. And so we've got the option between cow or bunny, so you guys can choose. I could also throw sloth in there if you guys are that interested, but I'll put the sloth in, and then you guys will get to vote. It'll be on the community tab. If you are a member, you get access to the full resolution art, which is on the community tab and is in the Discord. So you can find it either there or there. Patreon will be starting back up, but that's not until March, so don't get your panties in a twist about that. Once Patreon goes up, the list of Patreon names will also go down here, and it'll be both of them rolling, so enjoy that. I was live earlier on Twitch doing the art, so if you're interested in that stuff. We were also super duper talking philosophy today. So again, if you're interested in that, you would have seen the free one go out on Wednesday yesterday. But members also get access to all of the VODs. So there's that. That's everything. Let's go dive into this, shall we? Let's go scroll down to where we fucking go. Gotta be the sloth or the cow. These costumes upset people. Like, it makes people angry, and that's one of the best parts about them. It's one of the best parts about it. Let's see. We were at... When we last left our heroes, stop punishing family formation. The cow seems fitting for Dumbfuck Friday. This is true. I mean, so does the sloth, kind of. The sloth... We're just a little slow, guys. It's alright. God, I wish these fucking stupid people were just a little bit slow and not malicious. Alright. Oh, also, the goal is for the spice, so we got our spice rack. Ooh, I almost knocked it over. We got the spice rack ready to go, so if we reach the goal for that, we will get The spice is rolling. Magicus, welcome to Bronze Goblin. Thank you so much. I do need to update Bronze Goblin. You shouldn't be a Bronze Goblin anymore. You should be a cheese miner. So enjoy mining cheese on the moon. I will get that updated soon. I should have had it updated ages ago. I wrote it all down and then I didn't actually do the thing. So I gotta do that thing. But welcome, enjoy, and enjoy your emotes. And I'll make sure that your name gets added at the beginning of next month, which should be soon. Okay, are you guys ready? I think we're ready. Stop punishing family formation. The welfare state kickstarted the current crisis by... They haven't even demonstrated that there's a crisis yet. I still don't know what the crisis actually is. But that's okay. It's not okay. But fine. And also, could everybody please get Screaming Goblins in the chat to welcome Lord Magicus to this shit show. Thank you very much. All right, into the dumpster fire we dive. The welfare state kickstarted the current crisis by punishing work and marriage. The welfare system has made marriage economically irrational for many low-income couples. Nearly all of the cash, food, and housing programs focus on subsidizing non-married single-parent families, with the greatest benefits aimed at families that do not work. I mean, you call that a benefit, but I don't know about that one. I think the word benefit, greatest benefit, is doing some hefty lifting, if you know what I mean. Moreover, all of the programs impose severe financial penalties on parents who choose to marry. These incentives are perverse. Marriage is one of the surest paths out of poverty and dependence and improves the well-being of adult children and society. Does it? The marriage is one of the surest paths out of poverty. I mean, I guess if you're marrying into wealth, but that's like a very particular situation and not something that people have ready access to, so I think you might fucking be full of shit. I also appreciate that Lord Magicus just said, I mean, I've been freeloading entertainment here for long enough time to pay up. I do a lot of work. Come on. You can send me a toonie. Come on. Come on. That's just funny. Because the first rule of getting out of a hole is to stop digging. No, it's not. That's not the first rule of getting out of a hole. You can dig your right out of a hole. You just need to dig in a different direction than down. Digging is still a pretty fucking good way to get out of a hole. These guys have never played Minecraft. Two-income households is more accurate if they manage well. Yes, yeah. If they said two-income household, but that's different than being married, right? You can be a two-income household and just be cohabitating. I have 2 roommates. Like, you know what I mean? Bros never dug a staircase in Minecraft. In Minecraft! Bro! Same page, man. Because the first rule of getting out of a hole is to stop digging. No, it isn't. Congress and the administration should eliminate all marriage penalties in welfare programs and impose meaningful work requirements. Okay, just because something benefits, this is a bait and switch, or this is like they're confusing some things. There is a difference between something being beneficial to somebody and it being a penalty to somebody else, right? Those are different things. So if I have a basket of apples and I've got Jenny and Jimmy, and Jimmy has 2 apples and I hand out 2 apples to Jenny, I'm not punishing Jimmy. Jimmy already has 2 apples. right? So Jimmy's not being punished by not being handed 2 apples. Right? 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 Okay. We're on the same page on that? Okay, so just because you get a different benefit for not being married doesn't mean that marriages are being punished. It just means that marriages aren't getting something because they don't need it. You're already saying that working together and being married gives you more money. So why would marriage then need to give you more money than if you're not married? Like, you literally from one paragraph, like the paragraph above it undermines the paragraph below it. Immediately. This can be done without adding cost to taxpayers by eliminating widespread fraud, waste, and excess benefits within the system. Excess benefits is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Can you please tell me which benefits are the excess benefits? On the other hand, can we also talk about how Doge was stealing all of your fucking information, getting all of your shit, and not a single person has been charged with fraud yet? They're still running around being like, hey, yo, waste, fraud, and abuse. And it's like, hey, yo, can you charge somebody with fraud and then maybe we'll take you seriously? I feel like that's the go-to here. You know what I'm talking about? My Unfinished Journey says, hail the Goblin Queen and her goobers, down with Tim Pool-esque idiots. Hell yeah. What benefits? Exactly. Additionally, work requirements for the able-bodied must be strengthened and enforced to ensure that children are raised in the best possible circumstances and not trapped in poverty. So this is what I was talking about on Tuesday. Economic mobility matters and is important, but you don't do that by punishing people who are not. You fix that with equity, right? And like granting opportunities to people who are disenfranchised, or making sure those opportunities are available equitably rather than only available if you already have money. Right? That's how equity works. I know equity might be a big word for some people, but we're back to the math doesn't math. Restoring the American dream. I'm a cybersecurity. Low RAM Advantage said, I'm a cybersecurity specialist. Doge undermines literally everything in operational security or OPSEC. Right? Did you notice that? I think, yeah, you don't say? Oh, Doge, man. Have you done a stream or a video talking about that? Because if you have, send it my way. I would love to hear a professional's, a cybersecurity, or somebody who studies cybersecurity's take on Doge. It has been restored. It's called the European Dream now. Kind of. The Netherlands, maybe? The Dutch Dream? I mean, Canada's doing it pretty well. There's some things that we need tweaking. I mean, every country has stuff that it can improve upon. Always being able to improve is one of the things that should be part of the dream, as opposed to America, which doesn't want to improve. The United States wants to go backwards. It doesn't want progress, it wants regression. In the 20th, restoring the American dream. In the 20th century, the quintessential image of the American dream was a family at home with a white picket fence, inspired by the expectation of an even better future for one's children and grandchildren. That dream has all but slipped away from a generation of Americans who say they do not start families or do not have as many children as they would like because it has all become too costly, both personally and financially. Hey, they said something I might agree. Like, I believe that people are saying that. At the same time that Americans have lost confidence in the future and the size of the average family has shrunk, government has grown to gargantuan proportions. Something about causation versus what is it? Causation and what's the other one? Correlation? This does not seem to be a coincidence. Well, it's not coincidental, no, but there's a big difference between it being the direct reason. You also know that, like, the tax laws have changed and people in the top percent are paying less taxes. If you want to talk about correlation and causation and that maybe there's a whole lot of wealth being hoarded in one particular area that might actually be the fucking... No? No, are you gonna unga bunga our way through this? Okay, we are here to unga and we are here to bunga. I was already really mad today in between streams, so I don't think this is going to be able to make me as angry as I just was, and I'm not going to explain what made me angry right now. I will save that for another time. I'm so mad. I'm so angry. My day has been ruined. US, richest, poorest country in the world. Yeah. Today, combined, local, state, and federal government is spending over 35%. 35% of what? 35% of what? On what? What does the citation say? U.S. Department of Congress Bureau of Economic Analysts Government Total Expenditures and Gross Domestic Product graph. August 28th, 2025, Fred, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Yeah, that citation doesn't help me. That gives me no context. 35% of what? I guess 35% of total expenditures and gross domestic product? Is that per state? Why is the state not allowed to spend its own money? Maybe I just don't understand what this means, but I don't feel like that's my fault. I feel like that's this document's fault. This means that this means that government takes over a third of the earnings of hardworking Americans and redistributes it to suit elite preferences. They're so close. they're so close to being correct. they're like on the edge. My Unfinished Sock says, don't blame poverty on so-called waste, fraud, and abuse. Like and share the stream instead. Thank you, that would be very much appreciated. The federal debt alone is more than $270,000 per American household. You did that, though! The people that are saying this are the people who raised the debt ceiling beyond something that the American people can handle via GDP. U.S. Department of Treasury, Fiscal Service, and U.S. Census Bureau federal debt, total public debt, household estimates per 1,000 data series 2025 Fred, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Assessed on October 30th, 2025, according to the citation. You literally just... oh god, the value of the dollar is gonna crash. It's gonna crash so hard. Harder, daddy. Oh, tomorrow we're also gonna take a look at the recent World Forum, and we're gonna watch Carney's speech, and then we're gonna watch Donald Trump's speech. This untenable situation imposes a crushing weight on the economy and stifles growth and opportunity that families need to flourish. Tax the rich. You're welcome. Beyond that, the federal government imposes trillions of dollars worth of needless regulatory burdens on the American people. On the American people or on American businesses? Oh, wait, businesses and corporations are people according to the United States. You should stop doing that. Yeah, stop that. Stop doing that? Stop doing socialism for the super elite and for corporations and capitalism for everybody else. You know what, if Donald Trump wanted to actually like impress the American people by getting something back for them, he should make Boeing pay back the amount of money that they used to get bailed out. These regulations make up nearly then if he said that, then he might actually get assassinated, because that's something that Boeing likes to do. These regulations make... Did I say that out loud? Should I not have said that part? Am I? Oh, oops. These regulations make up nearly a quarter of the cost of building a new home. This is just one of many examples of how the regulatory state has made it nearly impossible for many families to flourish. Okay, the housing crisis is not something that is only happening in the United States. This is something that is happening around the world, and part of that just has to do with the direction that the global economy has taken, as led by the United States, with the deregulation of capitalism. The deregulation of capitalism and the enabling of loopholes for corporations has caused a lot of fucking problems. The lack of tax and social services being driven by the United States. Right? A lot of this problem is about to fix itself over the next handful of years, and I say that because, not because it's actually fixing itself, but because the direction that everybody else is taking, as opposed to the United States, is going to start solving that problem, and the fact that Donald Trump is driving the American dollar and the value of the American dollar into the dirt. Into the fucking dirt, and it's going to get worse. Not only do you have countries globally taking their money out of the gold treasury, the gold reserves in the United States, but you also have the United States owing people money. The United States owes people a lot of money, and raising the debt ceiling on top of that is a major problem, on top of the tariff issue. So you're dealing with like a five-pronged unnecessary problem that Donald Trump just decided to do one day, illegally, by the way. And then you've got to talk about the problem that he's actually going to start printing money. I'm been saying this since he got elected again, and I'm going to keep saying it. He's going to start doing it. It's going to happen. It's just when. It's just a matter of when. And if he doesn't do it, if the United States stays on this track, it's just a matter of the next guy is going to do it. He's either going to start printing money or he's going to die before he starts printing money. So there's just a lot of fucking things you don't fucking need. I do have low latency turned on. There's just a way longer delay on YouTube. Counterproductive regulations, of course, harm all aspects of civic life. They limit job prospects and make it harder for families to thrive with a single earner. Do we want to talk about how women's suffrage, how businesses took advantage of women's suffrage to do some hyperinflation? So because now everything is running off the idea that there are two people working and it should be set back to one. If you really want the good old days of the United States back, then you need to reset the cost of living to the cost of living being a one-person earning household with 3 dependents. Because that's what they want, right? That's what the family is, 2 to 3 people. 2 to 3 kids. So you have mom, dad, thing 1, thing 2, and thing 3. So like the average family is 5 people. And so if you want that to be a thing, and you want women to be having more kids, and you want women to be in the household, or at least one parent at home, you need to have an economy and a social program that supports a one-person earner household. If that's what you want. They also stunt the creation of new family businesses and civic institutions and the development of new communities. How? Where? What are you talking about? Together, the fiscal and regulatory burdens of government have created an anchor that holds back family formation in America. So you just want to get rid of corporate regulations for small businesses? Because I don't think that's what they're actually talking about. Accordingly, there must be a whole-of-government approach to elevating and defending the American family in all federal regulations, grants, enforcements, and research. Do you think NASA doesn't, like, help people? You think space exploration and like knowledge isn't helpful for people in their day-to-day? Because, you know, pens and microwaves and dehydrated food is all pretty handy-dandy. So, you know, In the first few months of his second term, President Donald Trump systematically dismantled diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) policies and practices that had become embedded throughout the federal government. And that went poorly. The same zeal and tactics used to implement and then roll back these policies because they hurt families should be used to further policies that actively support families. So his fucking sledgehammer illegal approach should be taken to impose and put his government into everybody's family life. Okay. Economy is, Lord Magicus said, economy is teetering dangerously, and doing things like threatening the Fed to lower rates and threatening more illegal tariffs isn't inspiring confidence and longevity. Yeah, you're right. No mixed race families. Well, no, obviously not. It's not because they hurt families, it's because they're racists. And bigots. I'm gonna say bigot because bigot covers racism and, like, anti-LGBTQ stuff. You know, if you want more families, you could just be more accepting of more people. That would get you more families really fast. The president should issue a series of executive orders requiring every grant, contract, policy, regulation, research project, and enforcement action involving the federal government to do the following: explicitly measure how it helps or harms marriage and family, block actions that discriminate against family formation, and give preference to actions that support American families. So, you guys, these people are saying we want Donald Trump to executive order his dick into your family life. Gross. Ew. I don't like this. Do you guys like this? I don't like this. This seems icky. This seems icky to me. It seems like illegally, by the way. Illegally. Because executive orders are only allowed to go so far. I think I should take a moment and justify my reasoning for talking about this. Because, like, it kind of is a little bit self-justification because it is the Heritage Foundation. It is the direction that the Trump administration and whoever comes after Trump and takes over that demographic, this is the direction that they want to go in. But I want to show you the Project 2025 progress tracker. Now, most of you have probably already seen this, but I wanted to show it to you real quick because, again, these are the same people who wrote Project 2025, and they are over 50% of the way through what they are trying to do. And so now they're telling you right now that this is their plan for the next 250 years of what they want to do to America and what they want to do to the United States. And I think it's really valuable it's nice of them to let you know what their plan was ahead of time. So then you know what to do about it and what to think about it. It sounds icky and it's uncomfortable and it sucks. And, you know, it's kind of shitty to read it, but, like, you have to know about this shit. Otherwise, this is what happens. If you don't know about it ahead of time, this is what happens. So start coming up with strategies to not go this direction. So yeah, total objectives, 230. Agencies involved, 34. Time until the end of term, 1,093 days. Almost 1,094 days. Yeah, you still got 1,000 days of Trump left. Assuming he survives the whole time. And by that I mean, like, you know, he seems ill. But, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. 51%. And here's, like, the USAID, commodities, CBP, White House, and State Department. 100%, 100%. 3 of these objectives are 100% completed. And, like, here's the fucking agency list. Like, this is actually really detailed and actually is pretty amazing. And, like, the detailed objectives and everything. Maybe one day we'll go through this. We should probably talk about it on Debate Pub at some point. I don't think it'll be this week. Or, sorry, not this Saturday, next Saturday. This Saturday coming up, I'm talking to Gio about fascism and kind of a little bit about this, but there's the tracker. If you want it, I put a link to it in the chat. I'll add it to the description after we're done the stream. But, like, I think that it's important. It's important to pay attention to this shit. Remember, we only got Project 2025 ahead of time because it was hacked by furries. Bless the furry community. Thank you, furry community. At the congressional level, much of the tax and spending of the federal government serves as a form of wealth redistribution from hardworking people to those who could but do not work to retirees. Oh, you mean like CEOs that are super rich and don't actually do anything or contribute anything to their fucking... don't... like those kinds of people? You want to talk about wealth redistribution? This hollowing out of middle-class families surely plays a role in family decline. Yes. I just think your target is aimed a little bit to the right. To free the family of these government burdens, policymakers must address large spending programs that feed off the work of Americans and that drain them of the ability to save and build a future for their children. You know, you could solve all this by just taxing the rich and taxing churches. Do you have any idea how much tax money would be there if you were to tax, like, some of those mega churches? Lowram says, I work in the public sector, and this is a way better project management than I've ever seen in person. I am both jealous and disappointed. It's just evil. They're so efficient at being evil. Yeah, I mean, when you're good at something, I guess. Restoring the American dream requires a strong economy, yes. Freedom from debt, both personal and national. No. I don't think it requires freedom from debt. Is not a bad thing. To be clear, debt is a tool and a resource to be utilized in finances, right? So, like, there's a difference when a company is utilizing debt versus you are in debt because you can't pay your electric bill, like, as an individual. Those are incredibly different things. So they like to use this language as a way to liken two things that are not, right? This is a false equivalence. So the word debt here to say personal and national, the personal debt and national debt are incredibly different things. Debt is not necessarily inherently bad or wrong. It's just like how tariffs are not inherently bad or wrong. They just are a tool that need to be utilized properly. So it's the same with debt. So a freedom from debt is not a strong economy, sure, but that doesn't really mean anything in this context. So what you need is you need working class with buying power. And the reason they're, using loose language instead of specific language is because they're trying to elicit an emotional response to you. They're not trying to make an argument, right? They just want you to feel like what they're saying is applicable, right? But what you want is you want your middle class to have good buying power, and you need your middle class to have economic mobility, right? To be able to move up and down within the economic sphere, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean tax brackets, but you could use tax brackets as an example. and restoration of the natural culture and spirit. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. That's fluff language. The most anxious, lonely, and depressed generation in American history became that way through an increase in divorce and decline in religious attendance, careerism. Careerism? Sorry. The most anxious, lonely, and depressed generation in American history became that way through an increase in divorce and decline in religious attendance, careerism, a broken education system, out-of-reach housing costs, and the proliferation of addictive technology, drug abuse, and pornography. This is some boomer shit. Okay, so let's break down this list. The most anxious, lonely, depressed generation in American history. Citation needed. I don't know if that's true, and I don't know which generation they're talking about. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the millennials, or are you talking about Gen Z? Generations are also kind of bullshit. Like, they're kind of, like, a really loose definition. So it doesn't really mean anything. But, like, the most lonely and anxious and depressed, based on what metric? Like, I might be willing to agree with this, I might be willing to buy this, but you're gonna need to give me a citation. I want to know what you're talking about. I want you to spell out for me and explain to me how divorce and decline in religious attendance is directly correlated and is a direct causation, because they're just saying these numbers. It's like, I tripped today. The ice cream truck went by. Therefore, because I tripped, the ice cream truck went by. No. Careerism. I also am curious about this decline in religious attendance. I don't know what it's like in the United States, but there is, like, in Canada, there's a relatively large spectrum of people. Like, there's lots of mosques in and around where I live in Southern Ontario. So the religious attendance is fine, I guess, but I'm willing to bet they're only counting religious attendance for Christians and, like, under specific Christian denominations. So I suspect that might be bullshit. They mean our specific brand of Christian religious attendance. Careerism. That grind set? I don't know what careerism is supposed to mean in this context at all, quite frankly. A broken education system. Well, the education system definitely needs some love, but didn't Donald Trump, like, say he was gonna get rid of the Department of Education? So I don't know how getting rid of the Department of Education is going to help. This seems like the opposite to me, but okay. Out of reach housing costs. I mean, that's stressful, but, like, I don't know if that's the end of the world. And the proliferation of addictive technology, drug abuse, and pornography. Okay, but we all know the war on drugs didn't work and was a gross failure. A massive fucking failure. So, whatever, I guess. I don't know about this pornography thing. I believe, was it Texas blocked Pornhub? If I fucking understand. And Pornhub used to put out, I every year, I think they still do, but every year they would put out the search result statistics. And, like, so where you are in the world, what's most likely to be searched in your area. That was great. I loved that. That's such an interesting fucking piece of information, but it basically meant the Bible Belt was, like, the most hypocritical fucking place in the goddamn world when it came to porn. I'm like, that's so funny. We also know that prohibition doesn't work. So, like, what are you doing? like, we know that doesn't work. The proliferation of addictive technology is also kind of, like, a little bit on the nose, don't you think? Given that the oligarchy is made up, like, the United States oligarchy is made up of, like, tech giants, Google, Elon, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. That's all fucking tech shit, dude. Out of the top 10 richest people on the planet from what I looked at last year when I looked it up, 9 of them were from the United States, and nearly all of them, including the one guy that was from France, were all doing tech. The only ones that weren't doing tech were like big conglomerate fucking like real estate / investment firm people. So other way around, Pornhub blocked Texas due to ID laws. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Was that because Texas put in ID laws that were like targeting porn stuff? I don't know. Social connection does help people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Social connection definitely helps people. But to say that it's a a decline in religious attendance is a little bit of a stretch, in my opinion. Texas law require adult consent sites to collect ID to verify users are over 18. Many adult websites have deemed it lower risk to just block that region instead of collecting and maintaining the data. That makes sense. That makes sense. Understood. Thank you both. Actively supporting, next area. Actively supporting marriage and working families. Not only must the federal government stop actively punishing marriage, not only must it stop hindering the American dream, it should also make up for the wholesale damage it has done to families across generations. The authors of this report propose 3 bold federal legislative mechanisms to support married couples with children and offset current and historic marriage penalties. They also propose a number of state policy ideas throughout. All right, so, bro, God. It's fine, let's just keep going. First, Congress should build on the president's innovative Trump accounts by supporting marriage with a $2,500 initial deposit into a new investment account. So you want free handouts. You get married, you get a free handout? That's a... What? And what do you mean into a new investment account? Trump accounts are an effective tax-free long-term bonds that provide a $1,000 deposit at the birth of a child to support his or her adult milestone, such as college, education, home buying, or starting a business. Wait, isn't that just a fucking... Wait, what's that called in Canada? There's a word for it. There's like a fucking type of account where I forget what it's called. Shit. What? What is it investing in? Is it high risk or is it low risk? What is this? Okay. I haven't actually looked into Trump accounts. Is it Trump Bitcoin? I bet it's Trump Bitcoin. God, I would not trust this as far as I could throw this. Hold on, let me look up what Trump accounts even are. Hold on. Trump accounts Internal Revenue Service. Oh God, what are you? Trump account gives the next generation a jump start on saving. The Working Families Tax Cut allows parents, guardians, and other authorized individuals to establish a new type of individual retirement account for their children called Trump accounts. The account is for a child who has not turned age 18 before the end of the calendar year in which the election is made and has a valid social security number. The account features a pilot program contribution of $1,000 for children born between January 1st, 2025 and January 31st, 2028. Huh. And who are U.S. citizens with a valid social security number. Learn more about Trump accounts and how they work. See trumpaccounts.gov. Trump accounts jumpstart the American dream. We're building long-term financial security for millions of children by creating tax advantages investments, accounts for U.S. citizens under the age of 18, accounts coming in 2026. What? Nvidia, Caterpillar, Home Depot, Tesla. Oh, and they've all been in the red all of 2025. Oh no. They've all been going down. Yeah, this is basically a treasury bond, yeah. Oh boy. All right, are we going to throw a party on July 25th and watch this crash? Oh no. Oh dear. Okay. Well, maybe we'll look at account value. What is this? What is this? What is this number? It's like since I logged into the website, my account would be like, what the fuck? Oh, here we go. Contributing $0 a year, it would go up to at age 27. Why age 27? 18, 27, and 55. At age 27, if you contribute $0 a year, you'll allegedly get $17,000. At age 27, if you're contributing $250 a year, you're allegedly going to have $29,600, which is not a lot of money. Because that's 27 years from now. If you were, because you have to be born in July. You have to be born in 2025. That's 27 years from now. If you're contributing $5,000 a year, because that's something people can afford, $377,800. Do you guys want this website? Do you guys want the trumpaccounts.gov? No, I'm not linking that. You guys can find that on your own. Fuck off. Okay. Yes, RESP. Thank you, Jason. That's exactly what I was talking about. There's RESP plans in Canada. Thank you. That is exactly what I was thinking of. In 27 years, that will buy a goblin burrito with goblin cheese. More like a 401k, so it's tied to stock performance. Yeah, it is tied to stock performances. Yeah. This is not a good investment plan. No. That's a terrible idea. And you have to trust the Trump administration to do it. And you have to assume that it's still going to be active after the Trump administration is, like, after Trump isn't president anymore. They could just fund education. Yeah, you would think you could just fund education. You could make, like state college, like, free or something. That'd be cool. You make daycare free, something, I don't know. Noticeably absent is a support for the milestone of marriage. Congress should expand the Trump accounts by creating separate newlywed early starter trust or NEST accounts. I don't like that that's a good acronym, but also, how easy would it be to rip this off? What happens if you get divorced? I mean, I guess they're trying to get rid of divorce, but I mean, I guess having, like, a really solid, like, large quantity of money might convince people to stay in marriages they would rather not be in. But I feel like by that point, the marriage is just falling apart and you're not really in much of a marriage anymore anyway. It's like, listen, hey, we're not getting divorced because of our Trump Nest account, but we also don't live together. By creating separate newlywed early starter trust NEST accounts that support men and women who marry by or before the current average age of marriage, about age 30. Oh no. Oh no. You think that that's going to make less divorce? Oh, no. Yeah, marriage in name only, yeah. Oh my god. So you're gonna... This is such a bad idea. This went from being like, okay, this is stupid, to being like, this is actually going to cause psychological trauma to people. This is abusive. and that provide future retirement support for those who do not. I also noticed that it specifies men and women and not women and women or men and men or people and people. But, you know, just people and people. Just people and people would be fine, but, you know, they are bigots. The initial deposit should be $2,500. Why? Why should it be $2,500? And would be distributed over 3 years upon eligible marriage. To illustrate, if two people married by age 28, they would be expected to receive an inflation-adjusted nest distribution of more than $38,000 by age 30. What? How did you get the math on that? Because that's 28, 29, 30. That's only 2 years, and you're saying that the $2,500 would be distributed over 3 years upon eligible marriage. So it would take you 3 years to get the $2,500. All right, I'm returning back to my now what I'm starting to call an age-old adage of conservatives can't do math. This amount would provide newlyweds with a boost to their lives together, with any amount unclaimed by 30 being converted into traditional individual retirement accounts or IRAs. So you don't even get your... What? So you get an account that goes up in money every year you're married until you're 30, then it just goes into another type of account. But so you're encouraging people to get married as soon as legally possible? This is rife for abuse. This is asking people to have, like, child marriages. This is asking people to, like, set up their kids to get married at 16. So you're married from 6, and aren't there states where you're allowed to get married at a younger age if you have your parents' consent? Wow. Was this supposed to actually say $3,800 instead of $38,000? Yes, Chesh, that's what they want. Yes. The newest reality show, Baby Marriage. Ew. What happens if one of the partners turns 30 and one of them is below 30? Does that mean people who are in their 30s are gonna be running around poaching people in their 20s? Or people in their 20s are gonna poach people in their teens because it goes by the youngest person, not the oldest person? Or does the amount go down if one of the people, like the amount of money you get go down, but you still get more money if that person is under the age of 30? How does this work? The answer is they don't care how it works. Oh. I don't know. Everything is saying by the age of 30, and then said by 30. So I feel like maybe they mean that the amount unclaimed by 30, like by the end of 30 years. I don't know, man. I think that's optimistic. Second, that's a terrible plan and I hate it. Thank you. Second, Congress should apply the current $17,670 adoption tax credit to married parents for each of their own newborns. This newly proposed credit would be structured to make up for existing marriage penalties in the Earned Income Tax Credit, or the EITC. To incentivize marriage stability for eligible children, the credit would be distributed annually in 4 equal installments across 3 to 4 calendar years. Have you noticed that their way to solve the family problem seems to be to throw money at it? But only throw money at the type of family we want. They're trying to do social evolution with money. And so they're trying to make it so that the families that they want to have a better chance at survival rates. This is just advanced eugenics. Oh boy. So they're going to make life unsustainable for literally everybody except for the people that they want life to be sustainable for. Yay. To recognize they want more government spending and more government money and more government oversight into your private life also. To recognize the investments involved and the societal benefits that accrue from large families, married parents that already have 2 or more children would receive a 25% large family bonus for each additional child. Have you guys ever seen, like, It Takes Two? The Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie? And one of the twins is in foster care, and it's a bad foster care house because the foster care house is basically a family that takes kids in to make money off of them in the foster system. You're doing that, but with biological parents. To avoid repeating past policy mistakes that punished and disincentivized work, at least one parent would be required to be engaged in verifiable employment for the family to be eligible for the tax credit. Of course. Of course. Of course. Third, I'm not going to talk about this. You guys know. I don't need to elaborate. Third, Congress and the administration should make the average value of credits, programs, and tax benefits currently provided for paid childcare available for at-home parental child raising. So this is actually close to something that I was suggesting. Are you ready for them to throw it on its head? This is close to what I was suggesting. I was saying that the government should just give you a percentage of your paycheck to stay home and take care of a kid, and it should be available until about the age of 5, between 3 and 5, right? Elon is looking for another tax break. Yeah, and here's the thing, it's disproportionately easier for higher income families to have more children to benefit from the tax, to benefit from the tax cut, which is what this is, which is ultimately the redistribution of wealth from lower class to upper class. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. I have no problem paying moms and dads to take care of kids. But you know an easier, better, more straightforward way to do this? Universal income. Universal income would fucking do this. Without all of the extra bureaucracy, and without all the extra paperwork, and without all the extra government shit, and without all the fucking bells, like all this nonsense bells and whistles, and without all the bigotry. But we want the bigotry. The bigotry is baked in. That's what it's here for. It's here for bigotry. This is systemic racism at work. If you were ever like, hey, systemic racism, it's not actually built into the system, this is the system. One of the top reasons that Americans cite for having fewer children than they desire is the cost of raising children. Yeah. Most of these parents and potential parents would prefer to spend more time raising their children at home if they could afford it. Well, those are two different things, but yes. But the federal government largely provides support only for parents who pay others to help to take care of their children. Hey, you know what would help deal with that? Adjusting inflation rates and fixing the wealth disparagement gap. Fixing this gap would fix that. From child care tax credits to Head Start and flexible spending accounts. Spreading accounts? spending accounts, the federal government should not discriminate against single-earner family households that choose to provide at-home childcare and child raising instead of paid outside childcare. I mean, I don't think the government does that right now, but is the government doing that? Is that something that's happening? We're back to the bait and switch. We're back to the false equivalence of saying, hey, you're not getting this benefit, therefore you're being punished. That is not how it works. That's not what that is. That's just a lie they're selling you to get you emotionally charged. A choice that benefits both family and child well-being. We therefore propose a $2,000 per child under 5 home child care equalization credit to level the playing field for married households who choose to provide early child care themselves. They're not going to elaborate on how that would function or how that would work, but again, we're back to, oh, you want the government to just hand you money. Okay. But they're doing it in the least efficient way possible to get what they want, because that's not actually what they want. This is just racism and bigotry and moving money from lower class to up, like strengthening, making that gap larger and stronger and more solidified, dressed up as we're pretending we care about you. Each of these recommendations and the many others in this report would help the American family to avoid further disillusion. Moreover, if the recommendations are adopted together with a sustained cultural renewal, the American family will certainly be restored to full health and to full health. And today's Americans will keep the sacred promise that the founders made 250 years ago to secure the blessing of liberty for Americans today and for the generations yet unborn. Ah, yes, the unborn. Do they even know anymore what the fucking Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness is supposed to be? Do you really think that $2,000 per child under 5 is enough to make a to make a very big difference? Yeah, Lord Magicus, yeah. $2,000 ain't gonna cover it. This doesn't even cover a year of childcare. Oh, we're back to the math doesn't math? It's almost like they're just pretending they're throwing money at you to be like, look, we're helping, and it's peanuts. It's fucking peanuts. How the American family dissolved. Actually, before we start this, it's been an hour, so I'm just gonna take a quick break really fast, and I'll be right back. Let this stew in your mind for a minute. I'll be back in a minute. I need to shake my brain. And we're back. Whoops, I didn't mean to play that extra bit of audio. Oh well, it's fine. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Hello. Yeah, I wasn't taking a long break or anything. I just needed to walk away for a second. I wanted to actually, part of what I wanted to do is I wanted to separate out that which part we're covering. So, how the American family dissolved and why it must be restored. All right, we're gonna get into the history and the sociology of this. Are you in the psychology? Are you ready? I'm not. This is gonna get bad, I suspect. Before proposing policies to address the crisis of family formation in the United States, we need to grasp how we got here. I agree. Look, they said something I agree with. Take a drink. The decline of the American family, which began slowly in the first half of the 20th century, did it? Metastasized in the in the 1960s, leading to an epidemic of broken homes and often broken children that continues today. Well, what happened in the 60s? The sexual revolution of the 70s? These are the same people, Letty in the chat said these are the same people who don't want to fund teachers' salaries and then call them glorified babysitters. Well, this is also the same people who shit on women for existing. It's like, if a woman has children or doesn't have children, they get shit on. If a woman doesn't look pretty enough or isn't ugly enough, they get shit on. If a woman is too smart or not dumb enough, they get shit on. Right? Like, or is dumb, they get shit on. So, like, you want women to take on all of this burden and then treat them like shit the whole time. They talk about women like they're not people. They talk about women like they're animals. And I stand by what we found out one of the last times we were talking about this kind of shit. Canada treats its pets better than the United States treats its people. That's also not, that's not the first half of the 20th century. Yeah, it began slowly in the first half of the century and then metastasized in the 1960s. Except it doesn't say the word then, so this document is bad. It says, the decline of the American family, which began slowly in the first half of the 20th century, metastasized in the 1960s, which is not the first half of the 20th century. And so they're going to skip the whole when it began, I guess, and just jump into the 60s. Did anybody edit this? Am I the only person who's read this? I feel like this might be a situation where I'm literally the only person that's actually read this document. A decline in stable married households headed by a father and mother is a menace to the future of every developed country, including the United States. Oh. News to me. Yeah, it's not explaining anything. How did it do that? What was the event? What was the cultural phenomenon? What was the thing? Tell Elmo. Tell Elmo. Elmo needs to know. The natural family. Natural. The natural family, as opposed to the supernatural family? Are we talking about the Winchesters? Are hags an unnatural family? What is a natural family? We all know what they're thinking. We all know. Here, I'll get rid of the dog whistle for you, and I'll just say the quiet part out loud. A white family with a stay-at-home mom and a working father with 3 little white children. That's what they're talking about. That's the natural family, according to these people. The Addams family is perfect. The Addams family is perfect. The Addams family is supposed to be a representation of the opposite of the American dream family. And what happens in the Addams family? You have a couple that is incredibly in love, a family that lives with their grandmother and their uncle, and they are an incredibly loving, caring family that all have different hobbies and interests, and they're all invested in each other. The Addams Family is supposed to represent the opposite of shows like Leave It to Beaver. Like the opposite in the extreme. They're creepy and they're kooky. They're all together spooky. But they're happy and they love each other. And they're supportive of each other's interests. God. The Addams Family is like the family you should aspire your family to be. The Cunningham family. Oh, the Cunninghams from oh, Happy Days. Happy Days, right? And they're incredibly well off financially. And they're generous. Simultaneously oppressive and emotionally negligent, neglectful chauvinism of the 50s is what caused all the kids of the 60s to resent their parents and the system. Yeah. Chauvinistic is a good word for it. Get out the dog whistles. I have a duck call. Should I get out does the duck call represent a duck whistle or the dog whistle? I don't have a dog whistle. Hold on. All right. Every time there's a dog whistle, I'm gonna blow my duck call. The natural family, duck call, is the cell of the social body. Oh, shut up. You just stop that analogy right there. You cut that out right this very second, you fucking garbage. Garbage! Weird fun fact, Leave It to Beaver was the first TV show to show a toilet. Oh, interesting. Beave It to Lever. What was that one with, Opie? Can't remember. With the whistle at the beginning? You could pretend to blow a dog whistle, only Aaron would realize you aren't. This entire article is moral spew. Oh, this isn't an article, my friend. This is a outline of a plan for the next 250 years of the direction that the Heritage Foundation and therefore the current administration wants to go in. Hi, Honest Red. Welcome to Pain. The Andy Griffith Show. Thank you. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Alright, anyway. The natural family is the cell of the social body. Oh, yeah, emotes. Please use your emotes in the chat to when there's a whistle, when there's a dog whistle, please. Please do that. We need to pick an emote for that. Is there a whistle emote? Oh, there's like a whistling cat. There's a whistling whistle. The Brady Bunch was an answer to the stupid, perfect nuclear family. The concepts of a plan. Yeah. There's a whistling... Does everybody have access to that whistle? Oh, we could use this one. That's a good one. Or do you want to just use dogs? Let's use dogs. Let's use dogs. So every time there's a dog whistle, use a dog emoji, please. For those of you who have members, you can use Puck. So one of these dog emojis. All right. Which type of cell? What? Is the cell of the social body. Listen, there's only one cell, all right? They didn't go that far in biology class to know that there's more than one type of cell. Get out of here. They think there's only two cells, dick and vagina. So yeah, every time you hear a dog whistle, because I probably won't catch them all. So if you hear a dog whistle, Put a dog in the chat. The natural family is the cell of the social body, and no body can survive the death of and decay of its cells. Your cells are dying all the time. This is true for everyone. No, it is not. Including those Americans who never marry or have children. What? Moms are the mitochondria. Moms are the mitochondria of the cell of the social body. The powerhouse. Oh my god. No, that's too lib of an idea. Obviously the dad is the powerhouse of the cell, according to these fucking people. The mom is the mitochondria. Okay, but hold on. The natural... I need to read these sentences again together because I don't think they make any sense. This reeks of AI wrote this. The natural family is the cell of the social body, and no body can survive the death and decay of its cells. This is true for everyone, including those Americans who never marry or have children. What? What? If you get married, you're going to die, and if you don't get married, you're also going to die? Yes, I guess. I don't understand. What the hell? Oh my god. So, you know that whoever wrote this first sentence thinks they were being, like, really fucking deep. Paste it into ChatGPT and asked to give me a percentage chance on the likelihood of it being written by AI. I've literally never used ChatGPT, but here's the sentence if you want to go for it. If it's true for everyone, why bother specifying a group that is part of everyone? Yeah, it doesn't... I don't understand. This is not only stupid, but it's also redundant. And this analogy doesn't make any sense. Like, God, this is so bad. The persistence of every civilization across time has certain prerequisites. What? The persistence of every civilization across time has certain prerequisites. This isn't, that's not... This is there without the family, civilization will collapse, like the fall of Rome, to degeneracy. Yeah, no, I know that. I know that that's what they're going for, but, like, if you take this as just as it is nonsense. They don't want to take this cellular analogy to its natural conclusion. It won't end well for them. Civilizations has things in it to maintain itself. Yeah, I know. What do you mean? Without the formation, stability, and... I don't know what this word is. Vicinity? I don't know what this word is. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. It didn't play. Try again.
Fecundity.
Fecundity. The intellectual productivity of a creative imagination. The quality of something that causes or assists healthy growth. The state of being fertile, capable of producing offspring.
Fecundity.
Fecundity. Why is this being read by Snape from Harry Potter?
Fecundity.
Fecundity. Wonderful. Fecundity. So yeah, this whole paragraph, we're gonna, this is a dog whistle. Oh, wrong side. Dog whistle. No country can long survive. No country can long survive. Okay. Social conservatives have advanced this argument for decades. What argument? There's no argument in here. It's just a bunch of random bullshit dog whistles. That's not what an argument is. The fact that you're calling... Okay, is the fact that they're calling their dog whistles an argument a dog whistle? Snooty Mick Snoodingson. Fecundity. Is this a dog whistle? I'm not sure. Recently, however, the link between the future of civilization and the families has re-entered the wider conversation. 53% of Americans believe people that having fewer... What? 53% of Americans believe people that having fewer children will hurt the country's future. Am I reading this wrong? 53% of Americans believe people that having fewer children. Am I... Increasing swaths of the population now care that the United States and almost all developed countries are failing to replace their populations. That's a racist dog whistle. That's a definitely almost all developed countries. That's a racist dog whistle for sure. In 2022, the total fertility rate, TFR, in the United States was 1.665 births per woman aged 15 to 44. Oh, I don't like that you started that at 15. Ew. And yes, Renegade, that's also an ad populum fallacy for sure. Well below the replacement level of about 2.1. In 2023, it dropped another 3% to its lowest point ever at 1.62, and in 2024, the TFR is projected to be at 1.59. Among the 38 countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD, fertility was even lower. As of 2024, it has a 1.5. Demographer Nicholas Eberstadt has put it bracingly. Citation: last year in 2023, France tallied fewer births than in 1806, the year Napoleon won the Battle of Jena. Italy reports the fewest births since 1861 reunification. Spain the fewest since 1859, when its modern birth figures start. Poland has its fewest births since the post-war era, so too Germany. The EU has been a net mortality zone, in quotes, since 2012, with 4 deaths for every 3 births in 2022, a gap of over 1.2 million. Okay, and... it's just declarative statements undercut with moral panic and dog whistling, trying to be protected by the facade of thin, half-baked intellectualism. Can you write that? Can you send that to me in a DM or put it in the comment section so I can, like, add that to the description of the video? But here's the thing. So what? Why is this a problem, right? Can you, and I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm saying, this document has not demonstrated or explained why it's a problem. And if you want to say that this is a document where they claim that they're making arguments, then they need to actually produce the problem. What's the problem? You just called it a crisis. End of citation. To worry that the US and most of the world are below the replacement rate does not imply. Well, now you're talking about most of the world, which is you've jumped from one thing to another, but okay. Replacement rate does not imply a moral judgment on any particular person who does not marry or have children. Okay? Some adults, either by calling, health, or happenstance, do not marry. This is a true statement. Oh, what's the dog whistle? Name that dog whistle. Some who do marry do not or cannot have one or more children for a multitude of reasons. And some who do not marry also don't have kids. And for a multitude of reasons. Others suffer the pain of separation and divorce through no fault of their own. This report casts no moral judgment on individuals. Well, that's just a fucking lie. You already said that it was like the degeneration of society. You can't then turn around and be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not judging individuals. We're just saying that this is a full fucking... That's just a fucking lie. That's just a big old fucking...
You lie! You lie!
It's just a lie. Rather, it seeks to dispassionately, that's a lie, analyze, that's a lie, a multifaceted problem, that it is that affects all Americans. Sure. A problem that society can no longer avoid. Well, I mean, your society could just collapse. You could avoid it the whole time and just let your society stop existing. Like, that's fine. You could do that. That's not even a moral question. You could just be like, nah, we ain't about that. I mean, pandas kind of did that, didn't they? Pandas were like, nah, fuck it. For the country's population to replace itself and flourish across generations, a great many citizens must choose to marry. That's not true. And as a matter of mathematics, couples must, on average, have at least 2 children. Don't talk to me about mathematics. Don't talk to me about mathematics. Because now you're... Okay, so I think this is a dog whistle. And I'm going to explain why I think this is a dog whistle. Because we're back to... You have to be, on average, doing this means that you have to specifically be our type of married with our type of people. Right? You have to be... Right? So, no people who are in polyamorous relationships, no people who are not able to fucking deal with, like, have kids, no, like, you're all just a write-off. If you're gay, if you're not able to have children, you're just a write-off. So, I don't know, do you guys agree with me? Lord Magicus says, Dark Matter 2525. I actually haven't watched a video of his in a long time. I did a review of a video of his not, like a year or two ago. I haven't watched his stuff in a while. Just did a video the other day making a point I found very intriguing. Christians, by definition, can't be conservative because doing so means they don't have faith Jesus will provide. Well, they can't be capitalists either. Right, so like you can't be pro-capitalism and a Christian at the same time if you were to believe that God is going to provide for you and follow Jesus's teachings. Current day conservative, you might be able to be like an older school conservative, but like the current MAGA extremists definitively goes against generally accepted Christian theology. I would say that you can kind of use the Bible to prop up anything, so it's a little bit of a no true Scotsman fallacy that he's playing with a little bit, but it is an interesting conversation for sure. Letty in the chat says that feel when anti-abortion, pro-marriage people functionally will reduce the number of marriages because they forget about infertile people. Yeah, right? You can't get these people to argue for gay marriage. You can get these people to argue for gay marriage if you get them to agree that a couple being married is fundamentally better than being unmarried. Yeah. Normandy Foxtrot said, I mean, these people, points at heritage, aren't Christians, in my opinion. A very real sense, like evangelical Christians, nationalists are in a very meaningful way not Christians. Yeah, I think you could probably functionally get a definition of Christian that most people would agree on that would define that. But sometimes the definition of Christian is as loose as you believe Jesus existed. So you'd have to get people to agree on a definition for Christianity, and that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Alright, anyway, this is meaningless because we already know you can't do math. You offered to fix the cost of having a children by giving everybody $2,000. You think that's going to solve the problem. One of the most widely cited worries about birth dearth involves the way it threatens the funding of old age entitlements because there are far fewer workers to support an ever-growing cohort of retirees. Yeah, but if there's less retirees because there's less people, you don't need to keep increasing the number of people. As desperately as entitlement reform is needed, it would not touch the deeper problem that the demographic crisis exposes, a profound cultural malaise in which a growing share of adults feel that they should not or cannot and therefore do not form families. No, they form families, they just don't necessarily have kids. There's a difference between having a family and having a child. You can have family and not have children. You can have family and not get married. Yeah, see felines right here. That is a temporary issue. In 20 years, it is no longer really a problem. It's going to be a problem in the United States if they keep fucking raising the debt ceiling because they're not going to have enough people to bring in enough GDP to make enough money to pay off the principal. Sorry, not even the interest. So that's a different problem, though. That's not a retiree issue. It is a mark of a culture that has lost hope for the future. I mean, I do think... Oh, sorry, I jumped too far ahead. This is not just a harbinger of budget crunches for government entitlements. It is a mark... This shouldn't be a separate sentence. It is a mark of a culture that has lost hope for the future. Yeah, I do think that there's a lot of people in the United States that are incredibly disenfranchised. And they've been disenfranchised by this kind of rhetoric and by their government fucking them over for decades. And catering to fucking unfettered capitalism. Fewer children mean fewer future problem solvers. Inventors and innovators. Yes! Technically true. Letty says, G-Man unironically defined Christian pretty well 10 years ago. Quote, one who believes and follows the teachings, life, death, and burial and resurrection of Jesus. Yeah, I mean, throwing the teachings in there is probably important. Policies aimed only at the birth dearth. However, that just makes me laugh. However, may make the mistake of focusing on a visible symptom instead of the illness itself. The malady is this. The natural family, dog whistle, has ceased to be a central organizing reality of America's social and cultural life. You mean people have a broader view of what counts as a family nowadays? Because I think that's what you actually mean to say. But what you actually mean to say is, we're racist and bigots. To restore the nation's health, society must return the family to its pride of place. Pride? You want pride there? Wait a minute. 1, isn't pride a sin? 2, I thought you guys didn't like pride. Because, sorry. Why is this a paragraph break if you were just going to continue? Because the family as a married man and women and their children is the fundamental unit, dog whistle, the cell of society, Any long-term policy solution to the decline of the family should defend the family as such. That doesn't say anything. It should make the good of the family a central organizing principle of policy rather than merely one item on a long menu of possible life paths. This report is one, no doubt, partial attempt. No doubt partial? Yeah, no shit. Attempt to do just that. Let's see here. Feline said, in Europe, the pension system is government-backed. However, it is, in essence, built on 3 pillars. Pillar 1, mandatory public and state pension. Everyone pays into it based on earnings. Pillar 2 is based on occupation, often mandatory as well for most occupations, which also is mostly individual-based. And Pillar 3 being private pensions, which is optional for the person themselves. That sounds like it's this. I think Canada's the same. I'd have to look into it, and maybe we can do a comparison sometime. I think that would be interesting. We can compare like the way the United States does pensions and the way Canada and Europe is doing pensions. Starting a paragraph or sentence with because is something we learn not to do in like 3rd grade. I know. It's worse than period but. At least you can get away with period but. Period but is like still functional and grammatically correct under the right circumstances. But starting a whole ass sentence, a whole ass paragraph with because is a crime. It should make the good of the family a central blah 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 blah. For decades, politicians have talked about family values, but where are the policies explicitly defending marriage and family as good in themselves? Because a family isn't inherently good. There's nothing inherently good about having kids or not having children. This isn't a moral question. You already said earlier that this was not supposed to be a moral quandary after you made it a moral quandary. Now you're making it a moral quandary again. This is stupid. Oh God. Where's the next break? Oh dear. All right, so this is getting into the next section, I think. I think every time it's bold, it's a next section. The formatting on this is so trash. Okay, I think we need to finish first causes and principles, and then we'll be at the end. Okay. First causes and first principles. To understand the current family crisis, one must begin at the beginning. I thought we were already doing that. We've been reading for a half an hour. Oh my fucking God. Guys, we're gonna start at the beginning by starting at the beginning again, to start at the beginning again, to start at the beginning again. I hate you. This should also probably be a colon. To understand the current family crisis, one must begin at the beginning. No child can naturally come into existence without a biological mother and father. Dog whistle. iSoar sent 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. They went to Banana Splits, Ian DeBunk, Autumn Meep, Kakunga, Ernix, and yeah, that's it. Thank you. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Enjoy your emotes, and if everybody can get some screaming goblins in the chat, thank you very much to welcome our new members. As if marriage predates having kids. How do you pronounce your name? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it properly. Eris Rose? Eris Rose, welcome to Iron Goblin. Greatly appreciated. This biological facts. Eris Rose, was that... hopefully I got it right. Thank you so much. This biological fact, dog whistle, is inseparable from a moral fact. Oh, now it's a moral quandary. So now we've gone from not being a moral thing to being a moral thing to not being a moral... So it started off as a moral judgment to randomly stating, this isn't about moral judgment, to now it's a moral judgment. All right. This biological fact is inseparable from a moral fact. Okay. Parents have duties to their children, and children have a corresponding claim on their parents. Can we get an X to doubt in here? Can we get an X to doubt in here? Can we excuse me. I'm gonna X to doubt. There's a difference between like a moral imperative or like a moral axis and something along the lines of a social expectation or a social contract. In a lot of society, it is expected that the younger generation takes care of the older generation in return for the older generation taking care of the younger generation in their time. So you get the middle group that's supposed to take care of the young people and the old people, and then they become old people and get taken care of by that middle group, right? So the middle group takes on a lot of burden of taking care of the young and the old, right? Here's the thing. This does not apply to an individual at all. You personally do not owe your parents dick shit. And your parents only owe you so much up to a certain point in time. And that is going to depend on what's going on. It is not morally wrong. It is not morally wrong to give up on your child if they're shitty enough, all right? If your child is fucking Hitler, maybe you're not responsible for that anymore. Like, you hit a certain point, right? But let's keep in mind here, as soon as somebody says a moral fact, they're bullshitting you. If somebody says it's a moral fucking fact, and they're not about to dump some crazy philosophical nonsense on you, they're bullshitting you. Children have a corresponding claim on their parents? Yeah, I don't think so. You read it as parent, like the I thought it meant that children have a claim to be raised by their parents. Oh, they might be talking about that, but that's also still bullshit. That's also still bullshit. If you pop out a kid, you're responsible. You're responsible for dealing with that. But there's more than one way of dealing with that. It doesn't mean... Yeah, I was thinking like parents, like children have a claim on their parents as in like they're responsible to their parents to a degree. Hey, maybe your reading is more correct than mine is. Maybe this document should be better and more clear in what it's trying to say. These are not just abstract truths. They're not truths at all. Is truth objective? Maybe it could be, but not in our experience. Anyway, as elaborated in this report, there hasn't been any report yet, by the way. A family headed by a child's married mother and father is, on average, the best context for bearing and raising that child by a large measure. I love how there's no citation for this at all. I mean, you've still got this problem where you can say, okay, maybe if that was true, even if that was true, it doesn't mean there doesn't need to be continued. And you're actually explaining why some child who isn't in that scenario should get more assistance, which goes against the whole thing you've been arguing so far. This is so stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a citation needed. You're right. There's a citation needed down here. It's interesting to see where they have citations and where they don't have citations. In this report, the authors show that married couples, on average, have more children than unmarried ones. Okay. Couples who marry earlier, in their early 20s, are more fertile and tend to have more children than those who marry later, say in their mid to late 30s. As a consequence, if more people marry earlier, that will likely boost the married fertility rate and alleviate a multitude of social problems described in this report. This is correlation. This whole paragraph is correlation. The people who are in their 30s right now are fucking millennials who can't afford to do shit, dude. Unbelievable. Also, more children are born in bad economic times. Something, 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 child care prevention. Something, 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 condoms cost money. And so does education. Next, they're gonna tell me, hey, we should just shut down universities because people who are smarter tend to have less children. So if we stop doing any education at all, more people will have kids. Like, is that the direction we're going here? Before diving deep into the policies and policy details, however, a survey of the surface level forces a cultural trend that have brought the history to this point that have brought the country, to this point is helpful. You haven't done that. You haven't done that at all. First, many of the past incentives to have large family are gone. For instance, far fewer Americans live and work on farms in 2025 than they did in 1825 or 1925. Few married couples now think of their labor potential of children on a farm or a local coal mine. I knew this is where they were going, but I'm still not happy about it, alright? Infant mortality has also dropped to near zero, and life expectancy has more than doubled. Far fewer elderly Americans live with and depend directly on their children and grandchildren now than they did in the past, due in part to vast entitlement programs. You sure it doesn't have anything to do with, advancements in technology? Coal mines is a dead occupation, in my opinion. I mean, I would agree. Local coal mines is not exactly like career driven, and also something child labor. This is an argument for child labor. Second, the opportunity cost, that is, the number and perceived quality of activities or opportunities foregone if one has a family, has skyrocketed, especially for women. As the value of one's alternatives, including career success, income potential, or leisure rises, the more one, why is there a dash here? One must forego to bear and raise children. The more one must forego to bear and raise children. Okay, there we go. I got that sentence out. This is why there is no simple correlation between income and family size. People do not simply have as many children as they can afford to feed, in part because they must give up more high-valued alternatives with each additional child. I think that's a dog whistle, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on that one. I'm not sure. A century ago, the average family had far more children than the average family does today. Even though, is this document seeming repetitive to anybody else? Does this seem like it's saying the same thing over and over again? A century ago, the average family had far more children than the average family does today, even though today's average family is much wealthier. Why is fertility so low in high-income countries? National Bureau of Economic Research. Something standard of living, something economic, socioeconomic status, something adjusted for inflation. When grasping how changing opportunity costs can alter choices, however, this fact will seem far less paradoxical. This is especially true if a culture tends to treat marrying and having children not as a duty or guiding aspiration, but just as one of many life paths or consumer preferences. Equivocation of wealthier. Yeah. Family size is largely a function of how much people value getting married and having children, not in the abstract, but compared to the alternatives. It's mostly just people can't afford it, dude. It's not that deep. And what people value is shaped and transmitted by cultural institutions, including family background and religion. Oh, you're just gonna ignore schools and education? Social pressures from popular culture to guidance counselors to parents now encourage almost everyone to go to college. Ah, there it is. And delay getting married and having children. Well, that's because it's not affordable. It's not affordable to go to college and get married and have a kid. It's not affordable. It costs money to get married. It doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money if you don't want to have a ceremony for it. But if you want to have a ceremony and you want to have a traditional wedding, it's expensive. And school is expensive. And having children is fucking expensive. A large share of the blame for the parent... This is just going to lead to women needing to get married younger and being shamed into spinsterhood. That's what this is. A large share of the blame for... And the main difference between... And the reason why I'm saying it's going to target women that way and not target men that way is because men are able to, like, shoot their shot for a longer period of time in general. Like, have viable sperm for a longer period of time. Keep in mind that this is the same group of people that think that women start to, like, massively not be able to have children successfully in their 30s. So, anyway, a large share of the blame for the present malady. I'm going to start reading this as malady because I think this is fucking big incel territory. The present malady lies in moral and cultural trends that have both fed and been fed by government policy. No, the government is reactive, not proactive when it comes to stuff like that. Chief among these is surely the sexual revolution, which separated the sex act from marriage and childbearing. Sex has always been separated from those things, my guy. It's just that culture decided to accept that fact as opposed to trying to impose it. It is not just that sexual mores were revolutionized. Technology and policy also played key supporting roles. Starting in the 1960s, the pill, in capitals, and other contraceptives swept the country, which promised to reduce the unwanted consequences of casual sex with multiple partners across a lifetime. Like two gravitational objects interacting, the lawsuit influenced and was influenced by culture on this score? Yes. That the law is supposed to be informed by the society and is reactive to the fucking what society wants. The law is always behind society, not the other way around. No-fault divorce laws became nearly universal and divorce rates skyrocketed. Yes, of course they did, because suddenly people were allowed to fucking divorce. The number went from 0 to up. Dog whistles. Conservatives has all kind of theories about how big government is engineering society to commit suicide for ill-defined reasons. Oh, of course they are. So what happens in no-fault divorce if no-fault divorce goes away? What do you think happens, and who do you think suffers the most? Do you think children would suffer if no-fault divorce goes away? They want to protect the children, right? Even when the divorce rates leveled off. Oh, so they admit that it leveled off. Well, you know, I wasn't expecting them to admit that, it normalized, but okay. Even when the divorce rate leveled off from its peak, it was largely explained by the fact that fewer people bothered to get married. Citation needed. Explained by who? There will be an increase in murder rates. You know what's gonna be really interesting is like one of the problems with trying to go backwards to stuff like this is things like the internet exists. And so because things like the internet exist now and you're setting people back, it just means that like Google AI is going to tell you how to make mustard gas in your laundry machine. And so fucking dejected woman who's been suffering abuse for the last 10 years is just gonna be like, oh, don't worry, sweetie, I'm just gonna go do the laundry, and then fucking makes mustard gas and then sets it off and then leaves. And then just goes, oh no, I looked up a special recipe to try to make it more traditional, and it was, Google told me to make mustard gas. Oops. Meanwhile, despite wide access to contraception, non-marital births and abortion became even ever more jointly common, especially following Roe v. Wade in 1973. Even some noted academics on the left have acknowledged that the shock of abortion and female contraception may have played a major role in the rise of out-of-wedlock childbearing. May have. So not only do you want more people to get married younger, which is going to disproportionately affect women, but also you want to get rid of women's capability of doing contraception in the marriage. I see. There we go. I'm still getting used to figuring out how this thing works. On the left, the perverse incentives of the welfare state also expanded the fraction of non-marital births, especially among lower-income Americans and minorities. Ironically, insofar as public policy since the 1960s has encouraged childbirth, it has been among poor unmarried women. Tragically, these are the women, along with their children, who most need the benefits of stable marriage. So instead of helping them, we're going to force them into marriages instead of giving them instead of giving them help, we're gonna, oh no. Oh no, and they're going to be beyond the marital age, and they're going to have a child that's beyond the age that they're offering to give money to in this document. Oh my fucking god. Marriage status has no bearing on childbirth rates. Go figure. Go figure. Whoops. Instead, they subsist in the state of bureaugamy. They're married to bureaucracy? Ew. That's we made up our own jargon to belittle people. Specifically to belittle unmarried women with children. It's giving China. I don't even know if China's this bad, to be honest. They just said it's tragic that women need marriage unironically. They did say that, lady, you're right. Lord Magicus with the George Carlin reference, absolutely. If you're pre-born, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. Because you know what also this does? Is this puts a really, really heavy burden onto men, by the way. This is also like, we're gonna take all of the financial burden and slap it onto men. So, good luck with that, guys. You're gonna have to financially support your wife and 3 children. And don't worry, they're gonna give you $2,000. It'll help, I promise. Yeah, this is horrific for men. Women are being directly, really aggressively targeted and are going to suffer a lot. And when women suffer, men suffer. So men are going to get hit really hard by this, but it's like a trickle-down effect. Men are going to get hit by this, and it's really, really bad for. I wonder what happens when men are overwhelmed like that. Oh, gee, who could guess? Gee, I don't know. I don't know, man. What could possibly go wrong? In which government welfare replaces the father? Oh, yes. If women in this system choose to marry, they are punished and lose substantial benefits through the infamous marriage penalties that beset the welfare state. Yeah, there's no such thing as marriage penalties. They made that up, and it's a dog whistle. These perverse incentives, they keep using this, you know.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. And yeah, their thing here only makes sense if men were in their idealized position, and men are not currently in their idealized position. There might be some men who are, but men as a general. These perverse incentives set in just as many influential voices branded marriage as oppressive and labeled children as burdens rather than blessings. I mean, citation needed, because, you know, children are just children. They could be neither. You know, a child could just be a child and a decision that you make and a thing you take care of. A family member. You don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. For half a century, radical environmentalists have portrayed humans as a threat to the planet. Sure. And called for population control as the solution. Quote, population growth, people are told, quote, threatens environment at global, national, and regional scales. Citation Jenny Stewart in 2023. This message has only become more strident in recent years. Dennis Meadows of the Club of Rome warns ominously that he hopes the, quote, necessary pruning of the world's population down to 1 billion people can occur in a civil way. Stop having kids is just one of the many efforts to denigrate parenthood. Population can't be ignored. It has to be part of the policy solution to our world's problems. Again, we're back to there's more than one place on the planet, guys. There's America and there's everywhere else. When you're talking about population, you're talking about the population of the entire world when you're talking about population control, not just population of the United States. Contrary to these, Wendy says, let's purposely put all the financial responsibility onto one individual in a family based on their genitals. What could go wrong? I know. Contrary to these dystopian canards, however, it keeps using this however pause that in places that doesn't make sense. The United States faces not a population bomb, but a population bust. Again, there is more than just the United States. On top of these tectonic culture forces undermining family came the LGBTQ agenda. All right. We're going to stop there because it's been 2 hours, and we're going to start back on LGBTQ agenda. Because I feel like this needs to be fucking... This needs to be... They should have put LGBTQ agenda in bold at the front. Let's go! The however is also an AI marker. Yeah, there's lots of AI markers in this. This is clearly AI was very heavy-handedly used in the making of this document. Well... Yeah, the grammar for the however is also incorrect. Yes. Overuse of interpreters. Yes, correct. All right, we're going to call it there. Stopping at 4:20. Hell yeah. Pew, 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 pew. And it's 2 hours and 4 minutes. Unfortunately, not at 20 seconds. Unlucky. All right, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to get back into this next week. We'll be back with it on Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at the Trump and Carney speeches soon. but I'm not 100% sure when exactly I'm going to do this. I don't think I definitely didn't think I was going to finish this today. I already scheduled the other one on Tuesday. On Tuesday, I scheduled this stream and the next one for doing this. So, yeah, you're right on time for us to leave, Padme. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting financially. If you want to support financially, it costs less than a tea a month. If you want to help me out with that kind of stuff and all that good shit, I greatly appreciate it. If you can't support financially, don't even worry about it. Please like and share the stream instead and, talk about it. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment about what you think of this. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll be back tomorrow with a bunch of nonsense. It's Star Trek tomorrow. It's Dumbfuck Friday tomorrow. And I have a bunch of recording to go do. So there's going to be some videos coming out soon. So make sure to check that out. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. And if you like art and you're a member, you get access to the art. And if you want to see me do art live, you can check the link in the description down below and come and join me on Twitch. And if you still don't want to do that, you get access. Membership gets access to those VODs. If you want to watch it and don't want to pay for any of it, Wednesday there's a free VOD that goes out every week. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it, you guys. Okay, bye.
Scared, Daddy?